Hey guys, how's it going? Danconia here and welcome back to Overwatch. And for once, this is not an Overwatch League video. It's a discussion video, it's a news video, imagine that! So, as you probably know by now, Soldier 76 is gay. Honestly, I'm not surprised something like this was coming because of the demand from the LGBTQ, I think I've got that right, community to have more representation in Overwatch apart from Tracer, who was the original gay or homosexual character in the game. So that's fine. Perfectly fine. Nice to see a bit more representation for that sort of community. Then we get to that was revealed in a short story concerning Anna, and also there's a tiny bit of rares on the side, but not worried about that. Anna's getting a new skin. That should be pretty cool as well, but that's not the aim of this video. The aim of this video is to talk about balance changes. There is a new PTR patch that went out approximately 2 days ago concerning pretty much a complete change to probably how competitive's gonna be played in terms of comp, right? So we have been firmly gripped in the claws of a GOATS meta, i.e. Rein, Zarya, D.Va, Brigitte, Lucio, and then a Moira or another tank, one or the other. And that's been pretty awful. I have said many times on this channel about the state of the main tank role, especially as a Reinhardt or a Winston. You are basically bait on the end of a hook when playing one of those heroes. You are going to get stunned, you're going to get bashed to pieces. You're the sacrificial lamb at the front of the comp that always gets a lot of flack. So I was hoping in the next few updates they can't directly buff tanks because of the meta we're in. You can't directly buff tanks because it's only gonna add to the situation that we've got right now, which is GOATS. So you can't directly buff tanks. I would like to see a change that benefits tanks and makes something like a Reinhardt nicer to play, considering we basically don't see Winston right now. He's off in his lab somewhere not doing anything because Winston's Winston. Anyway, although I believe at the pros right now, just before these changes coming in, are playing Zarya Winston, which is an interesting one, but that's pro. Let's not talk about that for a minute. So, these balance changes, these concern mainly Armour. As you know, Armour is incredibly dominant right now with very tank heavy comps and especially a certain hero called Brigitte. Now, the damage reduction from Armour has been reduced from -5 to -3. So basically, a lot more damage will be done by heroes like Tracer, Soldier, Orisa. Orisa's the only tag that actually benefits from this, but she also has armor, so she doesn't either. Basically, a lot more damage will be done to armor. Effectively, anything with armor is going to have basically less health now, because they take more damage when they get shot. Now, I have a massive issue with this, and I'm going to discuss it a bit later on once I go through the rest of this. Brigitte has had a rally kind of overhauled. It no longer stays. It's not permanent armor anymore, it will be a duration of 30 seconds. I completely agree with this. I think it was a bit ridiculous that a Zenyatta could go around with 350 armor permanently, or 350 hit points permanently. I thought that was a bit ridiculous. And it basically meant Tracer was in the gutter and non-existent. Yes, Tracer was too dominant back along during dive, I completely agree with that, but she does not deserve to be in the gutter where she is now. So, the Brigitte change is a massive, massive plus. Love to see that, brilliant. Then we come to D.Va. D.Va is the most picked hero in the game. You can argue with that, she is. Lower levels, higher levels, pro levels, Overwatch League, Overwatch Contenders, she is the most picked tank. I believe she's got something around 90% in pick rate in Overwatch League. That's crazy. And they're really, as much as I love D.Va, I have been a D.Va main for a very long time up until I played Reinhardt, and I still play a lot of D.Va. That is ridiculous. She can't have that higher pick rate. D.Va's main ability is her defense matrix, and that has been nerfed. It has a cooldown when you use it, right? Its cooldown was 1 second. It's now 2 seconds. So basically, if you use defense... it's punishing D.Va more, right? Because if you use defense matrix when you don't particularly need it, you're not going to have it when you could block incredibly big stuff. Like a Graviton, like a Pulse Bomb, like McCree's ult. Things like that, you need to make sure you've got your defense matrix. It means it punishes you if you're not tracking enemy ults more effectively. Because if you don't track enemy ults, then you might not have your defense matrix up at the right time to counter those enemy ults. And there will still be the people that say, why should D.Va's defense matrix, which is a equivalent of basically a right click, just delete ultimates from the game? Should it be allowed to do that? Yeah. It's a difficult one. Because you can say, should Brigitte be able to push forward with her stun and delete a Reinhardt's ult? So I don't have too many complaints with the way Defense Matrix works. And to be quite honest, Defense Matrix is part of D.Va's kit and always will be. It's one of her signature abilities. So I don't see that changing. I don't really have too much of a problem with it. It's going to be quite major to the way D.Va is played, but I still think D.Va will be quite highly picked. This is where I start getting quite annoyed. Reaper. The Reaping. Lifesteal increased from 30% to 50% of damage dealt. So, this means that Reaper, for every shot he does, half of that HP taken will be given back to him as health. If he's low. Obviously, if he's at full health, he doesn't gain. This is stupid. Absolutely ridiculous. I can understand that Reaper counts goat and tank heavy comps. This is overpowered. I can see this being changed at a later date. I'm going to full on say that. I think it was enough for for Brigitte to lose her permanent armor and the D.Va defense matrix nerf. I think those two were enough to combat Goat's comp at this point. This Reaper buff is going to cause havoc. Absolute havoc. I don't think it will cause too much havoc at the high level. And I think this is where it's gone incredibly wrong. Because this is the hero balance update before the Overwatch League begins on the 14th of February. And I don't see Reaper being that strong even with this buff in Overwatch League. I think this will cause havoc at the lower levels of Overwatch competitive. Because I see a lot of Reaper anyway around the plat level. So he can be a nightmare to deal with if you don't deal with him well. When you have good team coordination, Reaper's bloody useless. But if this goes through, it's going to be hell on earth to play tanks. Especially if you're playing immobile tanks like Reinhardt. And I'm telling you now from experience, and most people will tell you this, it's hell on earth to play Reinhardt right now. So, with Reaper getting a buff, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Basically, this is the end of Goat's comp. I think everyone pretty much concurs with that. This is the end of Goat's comp. But it looks like a possible beginning to a DPS meta, where you could see 3, perhaps even 4 DPS. Which, to be quite honest, with the state of Overwatch competitive, might not be a bad thing, because at least you're getting a decent team comp, but it's going to be hell on earth for tanks. Not so much for your D.Vas and your Zaryas, because Zarya has a bubble to get out, D.Va has boost, Winston even has boost. And with Brigitte not being so prevalent, there's less stun in the game. But Reinhardt? Orisa? No. Oh dear. Just oh dear. This is a very bad PTR update if you like those heroes. That's why I'm so damn beat about it, to be quite honest with you. Yeah. This is not good. Not the update needed. The Brigitte nerfs are right. The Reaper buffs, that's ridiculous. I think most people are going to say this. I can see this Reaper update being OP and being nerfed, which is ridiculous. Like, perhaps 30 to 40% would have been fine, but to 50% is a bit ridiculous. He's going to be able to just press W and mouse 1 against pretty much anyone and probably come out of it alive, which is a bit ridiculous, providing he's doing damage. That's a bit ridiculous to me. With Reaper, I kind of found it nice, and I even played Reaper myself at some points, where you would have to make sure you're going in at the right time so that you can get out again. Now, this seems to make it a bit too easy to do that, and a bit ridiculous. And couple that with the nerf to armor overall, it's going to be ridiculous to play tanks. Especially your Reinhardt Orisas. Yeah. I don't know what to say. And all of this, and this is why I get really harsh here, Blizz. All of this is in response to Brigitte. Let's be honest. Goat's comp existed because Brigitte came into the game. So, Brigitte's caused this. Could you, like, oh god, I risk going on a rant here. I really risk going on a rant. But, this balance update, which is really poor for tanks, especially your armor tanks, why have you nerfed armor overall when it was fine before Brigitte existed? This is my question. Clearly Brigitte is the issue here, and I think the only thing that will happen to Brigitte in the long run is she will get reworked. Just like Torbjorn, just like Symmetra. Because she's broken. Let's be honest, she's broken. And she's going to be one of those heroes where she's either completely meta like she is now, or she's dead. Like she's going to be after this, most probably. And it'll just cause a rework. And it's a bit ridiculous. It's really stirred up the meta in a way where it's going down a quite tricky route. So, I'm going to round it off by saying this. It's after this PTR update goes live, which it most likely will, because not a lot of them don't go live, to be fair. It will be trash to play Brigitte, most likely. D.Va should be okay. If you're going to play Reinhardt Orisa, you're going to have a hell on Earth, or hell in Overwatch, should we say, because they're just going to roll out a Reaper and just wreck you every single time. And anything with armor, basically, if you see a soldier or a Reaper, run. Just run. Because your armor is rubbish, basically. We are heading, possibly, into a DPS heavy meta. Oh dear. And, you know, with the amount of people that play DPS, which is much more than it is tank or support, it might be a good thing, because at least you get decent comps in Overwatch competitive, but in the long run, it's going to change anyway. So, that's it. And all I can say is, I hope the next hero is a tank, and I hope the next hero is a very decent main tank. Not a Hammond, not a DPS, definitely not a DPS, and not a support, because I can't see it being Echo quite yet. But, for now, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you in the next video. See you then!